everybody, what's going on? Hellmite here, bringing you another video from Grab the Lantern today. Today I wanted to talk about how to keep your mental intact, which is something that professional players talk about quite a bit, but which is very relevant in just any game of League of Legends, which is keeping yourself from getting immediately tilted when things go wrong, if things continue to go poorly. Basically, in a certain extent, keeping your morale up in the middle of a League of Legends game. Now, a large component of any sport is keeping yourself mentally strong and mentally still in the game, because, and you hear this all the time, if you start believing you can't win, more often than not, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and you just believe that no matter what you do, nothing is going to change, and you can't win the game at all, and it just snowballs from there. And even worse, a lot of times players in League of Legends have the unfortunate side effect of broadcasting their negativity to the rest of the team. And this doesn't necessarily even have to be flaming. It doesn't have to be them saying, why did you give up first blood, or oh my god, this Brahm's so bad, but it can sometimes just be them saying, wow, that's fair, or LeBlanc is such a good champion, oh my god, or wow, I got outplayed. Anything like that can help your team. Now, obviously, I'm talking about sarcasm. If you legitimately got outplayed and you're just like, wow, yeah, that happened, then go for it, by all means. But I'm talking specifically about, like, complaining that something bad happened to you, or the enemy champions were able to find a way to get the solo kill, something like that. Keep it out of chat, because unfortunately what happens then is if your team knows you're tilted, they start losing their morale because they're thinking, oh geez, this guy is a flamer, or this guy is already giving up on the game, it's still early, and it generally drags the rest of the team down with them and leads to a scenario where you win a game that easily could, or you lose a game that could have easily been won. So generally speaking, you want to avoid these kinds of scenarios, and it's really easy too because of how early game weighted League of Legends is. If you give up the first kill in lane, or you gave up a solo kill, or your ally did something that you thought was a dumb idea and died for it or something, it's really easy to immediately be able to say, oh geez, you know, that really wasn't good, do we have a chance to win the game? But you don't want to have that reaction. You don't want to immediately default to, wow, that was bad, we're going to lose. Instead, you want to find a way to keep yourself mentally tough, keep yourself mentally in the game, and don't defeat yourself, essentially. Because as long as you still believe the game can be won, you have a chance of winning the game. In most situations, I'll get to those situations that don't a bit later, but generally speaking, you want to find a way to keep yourself mentally in the game. So, because very rarely the game is decided the instant something goes wrong. Even if the Talon gets first blood, or the Riven has a couple kills in the top lane, or you give up the first Drake, usually that's not going to decide the game right then and there. It can be an indicator of how the game might go, but generally it's not going to be, doesn't say the enemy team is going to win, we're going to lose. Usually it just says something along the lines of, okay, the Talon got first blood, so he's going to be a problem, or the Riven is snowballing top, she's going to be a problem. So, and instead of your first reaction being, oh geez, that Riven's going to be so fed, instead you want to be thinking of it as, wow, Riven's snowballing, we're going to have to adjust how we play. We have to play safer around her. We have to build armor, maybe. We have to find a way to deal with her, maybe send a different split pusher to deal with Riven if she's split pushing, because we know that our top laner can't handle her. Something along those lines. Channeling the what happened into some kind of positive outlook is significantly better than just saying, wow, something bad happened and I'm upset with it. And generally, that's the first thing you want to be doing if you're trying to stay mentally tough, is avoid that first instinct that you have, which is to immediately try to place blame, or to be disappointed, or to complain about something. Try to avoid that very first instinct you have. So if you get solo killed by LeBlanc mid lane, instead of your first reaction being, wow, LeBlanc is such a fun champion, I hate playing against that champion, your first reaction instead should be, in all honesty, taking an honest stock of the situation. If you were at a quarter HP under her tower and she killed you, then yeah, the first thing you should be thinking is, well, that was a mistake, I shouldn't do that again. If she got the outplay somehow, then you should be looking for where things went wrong. What did I do in that play? Did I miss a skill shot? Did she land her skill shots? Could I have flashed here in order to avoid that? Was I dead either way? Those kinds of things. Because even if you were dead either way, if there was no possible way, if LeBlanc landed everything, you didn't have flash, you had no mobility to dodge it, and you just died, sometimes it's nice to just say, okay, yeah, she got the kill there, but that's just LeBlanc things. I'll know better for next time to avoid LeBlanc in those kinds of situations. and taking an honest appraisal of what actually happened as opposed to immediately reaching for blame or reaching to try and complain about something else. The other thing to look at is to take an honest stock of the game if it's an ally who committed the error. So your bottom lane gives up a double kill in a 2v2 situation. Instead of immediately saying, wow, bottom lane lost, GG, take an honest stock of the game. Okay, bottom lane died, but was that first blood? If we already got first blood, then okay, that's not so bad. What's the kill count like? If that's the enemy team's only kills and you guys already have 5, okay, who cares? So bottom lane's down, but the rest of the team is probably up. Is the rest of the team up? Take a look at the rest of your lanes. Just because you die doesn't necessarily mean the rest of your team isn't doing well. Just because the rest of your team is not doing so hot doesn't mean you can't be doing well. Is there a gold lead? Obviously, this is usually hidden information, but actually, if you click on minions, if the enemy minions are dealing bonus damage to your minions, which you can tell indicated by the little icons by their health bars, that will tell you if they have a gold lead or not. And the higher percentage damage they're doing to your minions, the higher the gold lead is. Conversely, if you click on your minions and there are numbers there, you should know that your minions are dealing bonus damage and you have a gold lead. Another thing to look at is, do you scale? A lot of times teams just kind of want to give up the second things aren't going very well, but you want to look at the kind of team composition you're playing. If you have a Veigar and a Tristana and some other scaling top laner, then the first thing you want to be thinking of isn't necessarily, wow, we're doing really poorly early. You kind of should be, because you're playing for the late game on these hyper carries that need time to scale. So instead of saying, well, we lost the early game, so we're going to lose the game, instead say, wow, we're actually going to outscale, so we just have to hold on and hit our item breakpoints. And generally speaking, reminding yourself that you scale, even in a game that isn't necessarily one that you scale in, just trying to play for late game is always a good strategy. I know I've talked about it before, but playing for late game, anything can happen late game. Once all teams have 6 items, the objectives are the only things that matter left. It really becomes important to... It really comes down to just team execution, and anyone can mess that up, especially in solo queue. So always try to go late if you are down, especially in the early game, but even in late game, try to hold on and think to yourself, instead of, wow, we gave up a pick there, that's probably the game, what can you do to mitigate the damage? Can we send somebody to split push to maybe drop pressure? Can we defend under this tower? Can we give up objectives and maybe not lose the game? That sort of thing can be really useful to keeping yourself mentally in the game, because again, if you kind of lose your mental, it doesn't go very well for you after that, and it's important to keep yourself strong and keep yourself in the game. So I hope I've given you guys at least a couple of ideas about why this is important and how to keep yourself in, mentally focused and in the game, because that sort of thing is going to translate to more wins. Because if you don't immediately defeat yourself in a game, you generally have a chance to come back. Now, and this is kind of getting back to what I talked about at the beginning, some games are just straight up a lost cause. If the kill score is 12-0 for the enemy team and they've taken first tower, they got first blood, they have 2 dragons already under their belts, they've got champions that are going to snowball really hard or that outscale you guys completely, sure, at that point, it can be fine to kind of say, yeah, this game might be a lost cause, because you can just get blown out like that. But instead of saying, wow, GG, bot lane fed, this sucks, I don't want to play this anymore, a better strategy, especially if you're doing a lot of solo queue spamming, or if you're generally trying to be playing lots of games of League all at the same time, a better strategy, in all honesty, is think about, first of all, how you could have done better while you're playing the game. Just, wow, what could I have done better to affect the outcome of this game, as opposed to complaining about it. What could I have done? Could I have teleported bottom lane? Could I have roamed better? Could I have ganked better? Could I have done a better job of getting vision control in this area? That sort of thing while you're playing the game is going to be significantly better for your focus and better for your mental. The other thing to focus on is that, what about the next game? Focus on the next game. What can I change for the next game? If I am into another Nasus or another Shen or another Riven top, what can I do to affect this matchup better? Who can I pick? What kind of build can I do? Did this rune or did this item do anything much for me in this game? Should I have built things in a different order? Focusing on that instead, even as you're playing out the remainder of the game, is much better, because that way you've kind of already accepted, okay, whatever. It's 12-0, we're not going to win this one. We already have an inhibitor taken at 15 minutes. Who cares at that point? Don't let it get to you. Instead, be refocusing yourself for the next game, if you do end up playing a next game immediately afterwards. Obviously, if you don't, it's not as big of a deal, but still a good habit to get yourself into. So But generally, you don't want to just be giving up on things the second something goes wrong, because staying mentally tough is going to give you a lot more victories and generally going to have you have a better time while playing the game. Go ahead and let me know if this video was useful to you guys at all. I would love to know your guys' thoughts. If you enjoyed it, if you didn't enjoy it, go ahead and let me know what you're thinking. If you enjoyed the video today, go ahead and leave a like. And if you really enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. I upload a video every Monday, Friday, and on patch days as well. And if you're looking for more Gravel Lantern content, you can check out my blog, link down in the description. I upload articles just about each and every single day for your enjoyment. And go ahead and let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Once again, would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this subject or anything you in particular do to keep yourself mentally in a game. Once again, thank you guys so very much for watching. I do appreciate it. And I'll talk to you all later.